thinking about moving to Oceanside, California, but you kind of want to know the good and the bad before you do? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to explain to you guys the real pros and cons of living in Oceanside, so you're going to want to stick around because we're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you like to know what it's like to live in San Diego or some of the surrounding areas like Oceanside, make sure you tap that subscribe button below. It really does help motivate me to make more content just like this to help educate you guys. My name is Nick and I'm a real estate advisor here in San Diego, and I honestly just love helping you guys make more educated decisions when it comes to San Diego real estate. So if you're thinking about making a move here to Oceanside or somewhere else in San Diego, shoot me an email or a text or even give me a call. I'd love to help you make a smooth move here to San Diego. But let's talk a little bit about the good and the bad of Oceanside. Now, I've lived here for a little bit over 3 years now, and I've grown up in San Diego, and I've actually lived in North County, San Diego, pretty much my whole life. So 3 years in Oceanside, and I definitely think the pros outweigh the cons, but I want to share both just so you can be the judge. So let's go ahead and start off with con number one, which is going to be proximity to the airport. Now, this might not be a con. It's really going to depend on if you're a frequent flyer or not. And you have to keep in mind that Oceanside on the map is located in the most northwestern part of San Diego County. So it's one of the further cities from the international airport down in downtown San Diego. So you need to keep that in mind. It's going to take you anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes from Oceanside to the airport in San Diego. And that's about a 40-mile drive. So if you're going to be commuting maybe 2, 3, 4 times a month and you have to hop on a flight, it might be a little excessive, and you might want to look a little bit closer to living to downtown San Diego. But one of the cool things about Oceanside is we actually have a couple airports that are about the same distance up in Orange County. So you have John Wayne Airport and you also have Long Beach. So you can also fly out of those two airports. They're not international, but you can find some other flights depending on where you're going, either in California or maybe to some other states, and it's gonna be about the same, a 40 to 45 minute drive. And also another thing that's really helpful when commuting to the airport or maybe some other spots in San Diego is using the Waze app. There's no affiliation here. I just really highly recommend it because it's great because you can actually program it to let you know when to leave if you have to go to the airport or if you have to catch a show or a movie or something like that. It's really nice because, for example, you can actually the night before, you can program it and say, hey, I have to catch a flight at 9 a.m. out of San Diego Airport, and it'll notify you when to leave. So if there's a car accident that just happened, it'll literally give you that notification to leave 10 or 15 minutes earlier so you can go catch that flight. So Waze is great, and that's something that could be very useful if you're commuting down to the airport for San Diego. Going into our first pro, it's going to be our food and our beer scene. Our culinary scene here in Oceanside is off the chain. Now, I'm a bit of a foodie, so I could go on and on about this, but for the sake of the video, I'll try to keep it short. But just over the last couple months, even year, we've had so many well-known chefs from basically all over the world start to come here and open up new fresh restaurants, and most of them have actually been noted in the Michelin Guide, which is a pretty big deal. And another cool thing about Oceanside is, yeah, we have your typical fast food joints, we have Chipotle's, we have McDonald's, we have In-N-Out. That's all good, but we also have some really cheap eats that are really authentic food, and you can also find very upscale, nice restaurants if you're looking for more of a unique atmosphere. But most of these unique restaurants that I'm talking about are going to be much more prevalent in the coastal parts of Oceanside. Now, there is just such a wide variety of culture foods here in Oceanside that the list just goes on and on. You can find anything from authentic Italian to Peruvian to Indonesian, Mexican, you name it, it's here. And what's even better, and if you're looking for some really fresh food or produce, is every Thursday in downtown Oceanside, there's a farmer's market, which is going to be in the morning and early afternoon, where you can find fresh produce, you can find pastries, fresh meats, and then in the evening, when that one closes down, you have the sunset market, and this is going to be all food vendors. One thing that's really hard to find in North County, San Diego is rooftop bars. Now, when I really think about it, I can't think of any other cities in North County that have a rooftop bar. Now, of course, there's going to be some in downtown San Diego, but Oceanside is actually home to 2 rooftop bars. Not one, but 2. And if you're looking for a really good cocktail or you just want to go grab a beer and go watch the sun go down, this could be a great place for that. And if you're not into that type of stuff, there is a huge abundance of really tasty and strong coffee in Oceanside. And you can also get some really good baked goods like pastries or donuts. And not to mention, Carlsbad is literally just a stone's throw away from Oceanside that has even more choices for restaurants and things to do. Con number 2 is going to be the marine layer. And what this marine layer is it's literally just clouds that like to linger right next to the coast for days, weeks, sometimes months at a time. And you can literally see it. If you just head maybe 10, 15 minutes east away from the coast, you can just see this big, it looks like a fog bank almost, but it's just a very cloudy place. And it's a bummer because especially in the summertime, you want to go check out the beach, especially when it's nice inland. You're like, oh, let's pack up the stuff and let's take the kids to the beach. You get to the beach and you just see all these gray clouds and it's not much of a beach day. So you might have heard of June gloom or May gray. And you know, these are just a few of the months where it's actually, you wake up in the morning, it's gray and it stays like this. And the days where the sun does come out, you're very happy, you're very thankful. So it depends where you're at in Oceanside, but if you're anywhere west of the 5, then you'll be dealing with this marine layer more than you think. That's going to take us into pro number 2, which is going to be affordability. Now, some of you might think I'm a little bit crazy for saying that, but Oceanside is still a very affordable town, especially when you look at things like the location, some of the data, and some of the things that are coming into Oceanside. And especially when you look at some of the coastal towns next to us, like Carlsbad, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Del Mar, our average sales price for a home here is much less, and we have some of the best amenities and proximities to some of these other special cities. The average price for a home in Oceanside is going to be about $800,000, but you need to keep in mind that you can find a 1-bedroom, sometimes a 2-bedroom condo for as low as $450,000. You can also find beautiful custom-built homes on the beach that go well into the millions. And Oceanside is also another place where you'll find a lot of people that live here actually commute up to Orange County for work because it's a lot less expensive here and it's just a really short commute. Oceanside is one of the last affordable beach towns on the California coast, which makes it a great investment and a great place to call home. Con number 3 is going to be homelessness. Just like any big metropolitan city, San Diego does have its share of homeless, and it's a problem that needs more attention. But the majority of it is going to be in downtown San Diego, but Oceanside does have one of the highest unsheltered populations in North County, San Diego. I think it has a lot to do with our weather here because it's just so moderate and sustainable. The beach is close, so it makes it an easier place to live on the streets. Now, I see it daily living in Oceanside, but it's really gonna depend on which neighborhood you live in because it's less common in certain areas. There's apps like Nextdoor, which are very helpful and keep the neighborhood safe and they keep crime away. And the good news is Oceanside has just recently received a very large amount of funds that it's gonna help build a shelter, which should be a huge step in the right direction. Last but not least, I'm gonna leave you with pro number 3, which is going to be it's growing. This is one of the biggest highlights and positive things about Oceanside is how it's rapidly growing. It's like wine. It just gets better with age. But jokes aside, if you live here or you've lived here in the past, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oceanside has come a long way. When wandering through the neighborhoods, it's very obvious that Oceanside's growing. You'll see your average teardown home right next to a brand new custom built home. And I feel like every week I'm seeing a new business or I hear about a new development in the works. Oceanside was and still is a military town because you need to keep in mind that located just above Oceanside is Camp Pendleton, which is a major military base. So if you're in the residential zones on the coast, you're gonna see a lot of multifamily like duplexes, triplexes, and smaller apartment buildings. But I wanna leave you with this quick little story because I remember back in the day being a lot younger, not having a car, being in high school and asking my mom for a ride over to Oceanside to go hang out with friends at the pier. And my mom would literally look at me like I was crazy and say, I'm not giving you a ride over there. It's way too sketchy for you. Now here I am, I live in Oceanside and my mom is calling me weekly to come over here. She wants to walk the dog. She wants to go check out some new restaurant or coffee shop she's heard of. And even recently she's asked me, hey Nick, will you just keep an eye out for a house for me over here? I think I'd rather just move over here rather than keep driving over here. So that's just an example to show you how much Oceanside has actually grown. But overall, Oceanside is a beautiful place to call home, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you live here now, drop your thoughts in the comments and maybe you'll cover something that I forgot to mention. And I really hope this video was helpful. And remember, if you're thinking about making a move here to Oceanside or somewhere else in San Diego, shoot me a text or an email. I'd love to keep you 5 steps ahead. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys around.